I always forget how hard work it is to actually hold up a drill. Like, I'm not super strong, and 2 kilos vibrating at arm's length just seems to really get me. And yeah, it makes my arms tingle as well. So there we go, we've got this one party wall and chimney press down. These white bits here were actually harder than my chisel, so I'm not sure what they are. I'm really hoping and praying they weren't asbestos because I powdered them. So I'm just going to dot and dab deeper than that, so the plasterboard's going to sit proud of it. I think that'll be fine. These alcoves, they're going to be studded up and acoustically lined on each side, and I still need to tear off all of this lovely new plaster, which was actually just a rubbish job. So I'm going to take that back to brick as well. But before I do, I'm going to have a bit of food, and then I'm going to go into the next room, into what will be the kitchen. And I'm going to come into here. I'm going to do the same treatment in here just before it gets too late. Around about 12:30 at the moment, so we're doing pretty good so far. I think it's probably around about 2 hours a wall. Yeah, so we can get all of that stuff off, make a nice job, and then it'll be a little bit quieter for the neighbour as I work my way down the wall. I did give him warning, and the neighbours on both sides have chosen to go out today. I think as soon as they heard the drilling, they were like, yeah, let's have a day trip. So there we go. Just cracking on, we're just cracking on. We're gonna get there. House is gonna get there. It is another beautiful day, and I've just taken delivery of 12 sheets of 18mm Bolivian marine ply. Look at this stuff, it's beautiful, really beautiful face on this. Never gonna see it, it's gonna be under the floor, but just good quality, just to know it's good quality. So if you're up in the Northwest, Baywood Services do an excellent job on sheet materials. My builder is now finished. We're just waiting for the scaffolding to go down. It's a really exciting time for the house. There's so much going on right now. There's so much forward motion in, very substantial ways. I'm not sure if this was really necessary because all of the beams are attached into the walls on both ends and cemented in, so they should be pretty strong. But I've gone ahead anyway and just screwed up a bit of 2x4, screwed into every single joist all the way across to kind of create this one big raft instead of each joist going loose. I figured the floorboards themselves are probably actually doing a lot of the work of creating the structure of the floor, actually attaching all of those joists together. So as I come through here and remove the floorboards, I'm a bit worried about those joists coming adrift. So I've done the same in both rooms down here in the basement. Now that everything's secured downstairs, I can just go ahead and start pulling floorboards. There we go. Second board is in now. It's taking me all day. I'm so slow at this, but I did find this a better approach, I think, to getting them fitted. So what I did this time was I fitted the boards with no battens in, and then braced across the top of them with some little bits of 3x2, 4x2, and that allowed me to just drop it in flush to the surface to where it should finish. Screwed those braces down to the top of the joist so they weren't going to move up, and then went underneath and I fixed in all of the battens along the joists. That got them to the proper places, fitted the noggin so that the joins are going to be secure. Lift the whole thing out, put all of my glue down, put that back in, knowing again that it's going to land at the right place and then screw everything down. And that really did just give me, I think, a much quicker process. There's still loads to do. Days, but we now have all of the kitchen subfloor, the new subfloor down. And I wasn't really sure how to do the section over the joining wall, but I've done these little sort of bridging pieces where I've just needed a nearby joint. And then on the longer ones here, I've done like a whole strip through. Yeah, it's a lot of screws, a lot of glue, a lot of scribing. There's just a lot of steps to get anything down on this floor, but we are making progress now. I'm so happy. Had a slight change of plan in this back utility here. I was working out how much self-leveling compound I was going to need for the floor, because there's that crack across it which kind of dips in the middle. And if we have a look underneath, so the crack comes specifically to this window lintel. One of these basically has dropped as that lintel has sagged, or I suppose both of them have dropped. And what that's left me with is that crack in the floor. Now, the issue is that there is a 57mm drop from the highest point to the lowest point of the floor. And if I use self-leveling compound, it's going to be 0.25 meters cubed of volume, right? So it's going to be a load of weight to put on there. I mean, what's that going to be? About 300 kilos, I expect. You know, it's not a small amount of weight to put on a floor which is already starting to sag. And I just don't really trust that lintel to take any more weight. So rather than doing that, rather than doing a self-leveling compound, the proper thing to do seems to be to break up the floor, lift out all of the rubble, and just treat this as a timber suspended floor, just the same as the rest of the ground floor. It's going to give me a lot more opportunity to insulate the back of it, which is going to make the underfloor heating system
a bit more efficient rather than heating this slab, which in turn heats the floor below. I'm basically building this underfloor heating system without any thermal mass. I'm just doing it as a very large radiator. So it's not exactly a problem, but the result of this is that I need to protect the boiler. Because the boiler's brand new, I can't just go ahead and drop 2 tons of rubble on it. So today I'm just going to be building a box out here, and then my builder is going to come and smash out that floor and take it away, hopefully sooner than later. A little bit of a change of plan, but it is all progress. There's nothing that is not progress here, even if it makes you realize the path is longer than it was originally going to be. Managed to get the box done fairly quickly downstairs, and that gave me a little bit of time to work on these frames, and these are to acoustically insulate the party wall. So that's the double skin of brick onto the neighbour's property, and they have a similar setup, so they'll have a chimney breast like this going across the middle of the room. In the alcoves, however, it's just 2 layers of brick butt edge against each other like this. So what we've gone and done is I've just built these 2 large frames ready for acoustic insulation, and then I'll put the blue soundboard on the front of them as well, and that'll just make it a little bit more acoustically treated. Same thing is going to happen in here. So we're going to have one on each side of the chimney breast in there. Obviously there's going to be kitchen cabinets in front, so I don't need to worry too much about the bottoms, but the top section there, I do want to have that acoustic treatment as well. The scaffolding has been taken away, and I'm actually just so impressed with how exposed the corner feels now. It's crazy. You can just see everything out there for miles. It's so cool to be in here now. Super windy today. It's Storm Airwind. They're recording gusts of up to 100 miles an hour just north of us. But yeah, just wow. Crazy. How cool is that? And this is just my office now. This is just the view outside. The floor in the utility is coming up now. And it's quite a lot thinner than I was expecting. I really thought it was going to be, a lot stronger than it is, but actually we're just surprised that it's still up. It really didn't seem like it should have survived. This is the state of the joists that are holding up my floor. It's just not very good. I mean, there's not that much structure in here anymore. This is it's so soft. You can just crush it with your hand. It's crazy. I've been learning a lot about vapor barriers and insulation and how to insulate suspended flooring. Fortunately, I have a full height basement underneath, so I have a lot more options than just like a crawl space. Ventilation down here is not such a big problem in terms of maintaining it because it's very drafty. But stopping that draft from impacting the ground floor above us, or what will be above us, that takes a little bit of thinking. So the idea is that you put breathable membrane underneath, insulation in the middle, damp-proof membrane above, or a vapor control barrier above. If I can get the floor done in the next month, which, that sounds like a lot of time, but I'm working 5 days a week on my job, and then I have very limited time, especially on weekends these days. I'm not necessarily using 2 days a weekend, so I really need to up my time. The way that I'm going to do that is by moving in very soon. All I want to do before I move in is get the floor done. Once the floor is done, not insulated, just safe to walk on, then I'm going to move in, and I'm just going to accelerate everything. I'm going to absolutely catapult the project forwards because it's just not viable for me to keep maintaining this flow that I've got at the moment. It's simply not fast enough. What I've gone and done is I've got all of the timber down now, so everything is completely finished for this floor raft. Essentially, I've dropped the membrane sort of slings down in between all of the joists, and I've dropped them down to 180, and I'm going to put 200mm thick insulation in so it gets a little bit of compression. And what I've gone and done as well is I've battened across all of the bottoms of these just to make sure that they're well tensioned across the bottom. It also means that there's around about 20-30mm underneath the insulation to breathe between the insulation and the plasterboard, because it's really important that this floor is able to breathe downwards. Next thing to do, just to make sure that we're not getting any drafts coming up through this floor, which we shouldn't do with the floor build up, but just to kind of guarantee everything's going the right direction, I've got this, which is air tightness tape. And this is going to go around all of the seams, tie all of this membrane to the timber, and tie all of it to the brick wall as well, just to make sure that this living space here doesn't intermingle the air, which is going to be warmer and therefore moister, doesn't intermingle with the stuff downstairs, because if it gets cold, that moisture that is in this air is going to condense and you're going to get interstitial condensation in the insulation, potentially mold, potentially rot. So there we go, that's what we don't want. This supposedly is going to solve that problem. The floor is finally finished. It has been 4 months, almost to the day. I believe it was the 11th of December I started pulling out floorboards, and today's the 10th of April. What a ridiculous task this has been. This job has had so much physical effort, manual labour of moving around what ended up being 17 sheets of 18mm marine ply, cutting them all up, scribing them accurately. This one was actually the easiest in terms of precision, because this one I obviously had to do all of the joists and the joist hangers and the noggins and the membrane insulation, damp-proof membrane, and then this top layer. But actually it was the main house where I was scribing along the side of all of these joists, 130-year-old joists. That one was actually much more problematic. So it's such a blessing, you know, to get to this point now. I've got a floor that I can just spread out on, and it doesn't smell of cat piss. What an incredible achievement, to be honest. At the end of this month, I'm going to move in, and I'm going to be living here then full time, which is kind of crazy. That's actually a really big commitment, especially for someone like me who likes comfort and quiet. And I'm going to be moving to a bare bones house with no kitchen, no functioning bathroom. Floors are a little bit threadbare. But at the same time, there are some real benefits to living here. One of the main ones is, of course, this office that I am just immensely proud of. This window with this view. And the very frequent trains. It's just such a nice thing.